Matikela, welcome to my YouTube channel. I want us to talk about something that I've noticed also, guys. I don't know if you guys have noticed that with Judge Rata, ever since accused number 3 has taken the witness box, he's not as disruptive as he normally is. That's number one. Take note of that. He's not as disruptive as he normally is. He tries, but he limits himself. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't know why. And I can't even call it here respects accused number 3. No, it can't be that. It could be something else that I don't know, but it's just something that I've observed. And the other issue, guys, I don't know if you noticed that Mnube's Section 205 blew up the case, the state case. Now the state wants a second 205 to repair those mistakes, and that is why there is a fight. Rata's biggest test yet: can the state repair its own evidence? That is what he's grumbling with it right now with Judge Rata. Now, the state case is shifting. Mnube's alibi has changed everything. According to them, Mnube has an alibi, and Umnisi says, as a lawyer, I never said, Mnube never raised no alibi, but Mnube just said, I was not there. This is where I was. So I don't know anything about an alibi. Now, they are trying to make sure that the situation of an alibi that they claim it was raised by Mnube is dead. That's what they are trying to do with the Mabungu cell phone evidence. But now they forget that this is a thing about them. That is why I sometimes wish they can go sit in front of the Madlanga, because now they forget that actually we were exposed for the Kweli Kumalo and accused number 5 is so-called communication that does not exist. Chances are they want to do the same thing, because why are they not calling the person from Vodacom to come and be the one that first speak on these records? Why do they just want to do that? Because now they want to use an Excel sheet and it needs to be a PDF. It needs to come from Vodacom. It needs to be explained by the person that explained it in the Cleveland case. Why not call that person? Why not call that person? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Now, we are where we are with the case because they are refusing to stand for the truth and do things correctly. That is why we are here, because now isn't as now the Section 205 problem appears to be the real grenade on all of this. If Mnube's Section 205 material objectively places him somewhere inconsistent with the state's alleged crime scene narrative, and the state now wants to introduce Mabungu's Section 205 material to rebut, contextualize, or neutralize that evidence, then the fundamental facts do not disappear. The legal question becomes whether the new material is admissible and what weight it deserves, not whether the inconvenient evidence can simply be made to vanish. What is it going to deal with? What I'm trying to say is it going to take away that if cell phone he was never anywhere near the Phosphorus crime scene? Is that what this is going to bring? And if I heard correctly, that evidence that he has of Section 205 Mabungu starts from January 2015. It has nothing to do with 2014. So how are they going to how are they going to actually work around all of these guys? Now, the second thing is that this is a judicial nightmare because the ruling has consequences either way. Allow the state material in, and defense can argue, why is the state being permitted to repair holes exposed by its own evidence? Keep it out, and the state may lose an opportunity to answer evidence that could be damaging to its version. That is the conundrum Judge Rata is dealing with right now. Thirdly, the postponement naturally invites suspicion, but suspicion is not proof of consultation or bias. We don't know. The timing is political and publicly disastrous, particularly after the recent controversy surrounding the court. A judge who has repeatedly projected urgency and frustration with delays, now asking for more time, creates a glaring contradiction in perception. The court may have legitimate reasons for the delay, but it cannot be surprised when the public asks why this particular moment requires patience because he's not a patient man to begin with. 4, the defense's complaint about unequal treatment is also something that is not to be taken lightly. Do you remember then when Umnisi was asking for one day coming from a marathon? Ujudge Rata asked for a Monday going for coming from a funeral and for a what you call this, a memorial. Now I'm also confused, guys. Is this memorial for the same judge that they went to a funeral for, or it's a different judge? What's going on? What is going on here? What is going on here? Now, the question, in fact, that we end up asking is that if lawyers seeking time for personal or professional commitments have previously been criticized or refused accommodation, but the court itself now requires additional time, we have every right to ask, does agency apply equally to everyone in court or only when the defense needs time, it becomes a problem? And when we talk about lost time, I cannot not speak about Usibanda, who once got up and said we lost a day sitting or 3 hours sitting because of whatever. Then in Namhlanje, he did not say anything when Judge Rata was making them lose the entire week. Do you guys remember? I cannot not deal with that, Nashem. And now, I guess Judge Rata is really in a conundrum because Umshololo did. I suppose Umshololo's address may genuinely have complicated matters. Powerful closing arguments can force a judge to confront issues that may not have been fully resolved in an earlier draft or preliminary line of reasoning. That does not prove that a judgment was already written or that the judge is now trying to manufacture an outcome. Well, it looks like something, God. It looks like something. But it is entirely fair to say that a substantial defense address combined with fresh evidential disputes can make a previously straightforward ruling considerably more difficult. Actually, the difficulty comes because you normally gives the state the leeway, and now it's difficult to give the state the leeway. Now, the biggest question remains, why does the prosecution remain focused on repairing, explaining, or supplementing the case around the accused when the unresolved questions about the people inside the house remain so central to the public understanding of the matter? That is where us, the public, frustration comes from. As people will remember the crime scene, the occupants, the alleged cleaning of the house, the early investigation, missing or disputed evidence, and the witnesses who were or were not called. Every procedural battle now happens against that background. Now, Judge Rata behave on top of it all. Now, Judge Rata is under a lot of pressure, not necessarily because anyone can prove that he is biased, but we can see how he behaves in that courtroom. We can see. But because the case has reached a point where every ruling will be examined through the accumulated history of the trial, that is the issue. We are using history to judge him. Now, the Section 205 dispute is dangerous because it goes beyond courtroom theatrics. If documentary evidence genuinely supports an accused person's alibi or materially contradicts the state's timeline, then the court has to confront that evidence honestly. Neither an adjournment nor a clever legal route can change an underlying fact. Judge Rata. And that is why the facial expressions of Judge Rata, the postponements, and the sudden caution are attracting so much attention from us. Now, we are asking a lot of questions. How is he going to get out of this one, Judge Rata Mokwatleng? Because it's becoming a lot, not just for him, but everything that is happening. It's becoming a lot. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. Do enjoy your day. Bye-bye.